Hey everyone, welcome back for a little TLC. So we've been talking about self-control for the past couple of weeks, and I want to continue with that. I think this might be the last week talking about self-control, but we shall see. Anyway, this week we're going to be talking about self-control in the area of sex. I don't know if I can say sex on YouTube, but we just gonna roll with it. If they block certain parts out, then y'all will know what I'm talking about. That thing, I might use that type of language. But yeah, self-control in the area of sex. Let's get into it. Okay, so self-control in the area of sex. I want to be forthcoming that I'm not going to go off on some rant about how holiness is still right, because I think we hear enough about that. But I want to talk about some practical ways in which self-control and sex are necessary and how we can kind of implement those things. I think sex is everywhere. It's in music, it's in the television that we watch, it's in books that we read. And so if anyone should be talking about sex, then I think that the church should as well. Again, this is not about we're trying to be holy, because y'all already know that, but I think that we do need to talk about some reasons why both men and women should be concerned about having self-control in this area, especially since we talked a couple weeks ago about how self-control should be a relevant part of each and every one of our lives. We should be self-controlled in the area of sex to make sure that there is nothing that is taking us over completely. I know that sex is powerful. It's something that, as I mentioned earlier, is a part of almost every part of our lives. And so we have to be able to control ourselves in that area. It's about being disciplined. It's about making sure that we're not thinking with that particular part of our bodies or that part of our emotions, to make sure that we're making sound decisions. There are so many sexual addictions, there are so many porn addictions that just aren't healthy if you want to have good relationships. And so it's important to get those things under control as soon as we possibly can. I also think that having self-control in the area of sex means that if you want to have a monogamous relationship, you're more likely to be able to do that successfully. If you're just out here doing whatever you want sexually, you don't ever learn what it means to be committed to one person and to be satisfied with just one person. Porn addictions, multiple partner addictions do not just go away just because you get into a relationship. And so those are some areas of self-control that we do have to practice on a regular basis. Additionally, when you do have self-control in the area of sex, you're more likely to actually get to know the person that you say that you want to be with. I like to call them love goggles when you've been, doing things that married folks are supposed to do. But if you're not having sex with a person that you are just dating, then when y'all get into arguments, you can't just fall back. You can't just fall back on sex. So you have to figure out, can I actually communicate with this person? Can I work through difficult times with this person? Do I even like this person? Because you don't have your love goggles on. So that's another great reason why we should want to have self-control in the area of sex. I just think at the end of the day, it all boils down to making sure that we have a clear mind so that we are able to make sound decisions, because being all over the place sexually clouds our mind. It can limit our productivity. It could have us making decisions that we wouldn't otherwise make if we just took a step back and weren't just thinking about what's in somebody's genes. So it's really important for us to have self-control in this particular area. If you would like some additional reasons why we should want to have self-control in the area of sex, I'm going to put a link to an article that talks about some things like there are some studies apparently that have found that folks who have sexual discipline tend to have better, more long-lasting relationships. And of course, I know if you open up your Bible, it will say a whole lot about sexual discipline. That seems to be what lots of folks harp on nowadays. But at the end of the day, I just think we should want to have self-control in this area, it can be difficult to have self-control in the area of sex because, like I said earlier, sex is literally everywhere. But a quick 3 tips for how you can maintain your sexual integrity or how you can be more self-controlled in this area. Number one, be upfront with your partner about you wanting to be self-controlled in this particular area. Be upfront with your friends or your family who can hold you accountable if that's what you say that you want to do. I think number two, don't be afraid to have boundaries as far as what you're looking at, as far as the music that you are listening to. Don't be ashamed to say, you know what, this particular music is taking me to a place that I don't want to be at, so I'm going to have to turn that down. Just have some boundaries around yourself. Have boundaries about where you go. If you're hanging out at certain times of the night, you might have to set some boundaries around that as well. And number three, I always use this one, run. If you are feeling like you're about to give in to temptation, then run. Run for your life. That's about as, I don't know if it's easy for you to run if you've gotten to a certain place, but sometimes you just gotta throw your dignity to the side and get the heck out of Dodge. Anyway, I really just wanted to talk briefly about us having self-control in the area of sex. I do think that sex is good. I think that it is God ordained in certain contexts. We just have to learn how to be controlled with it so that we can experience the peace and the goodness that comes with it. Because when we are sexually out of control, you can have multiple baby mamas or baby fathers. You can contract STDs. You might be committing adultery or anything else. Those things that really do disrupt your peace and just don't make out for the best, most bountiful, prosperous life that I believe we could be living if we live sexually controlled lives. All right, that's what I have for today. Yes, I would love to know what you all think about this. Is exercising sexual control difficult? Why or why not? What are some tips that you might have for someone who might be struggling in this area? I look forward to seeing what you all think, and I will see you next time for a little TLC. Bye-bye.